And I'm back. This time to talk about an assortment of games that also have pretty good soundtracks and influence or meant something to me in one way or the other. These are all games that I like or love, but I don't have much to say about them to make each one an individual video. So, without further ado, in no particular order, let's go.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Skate 3 has a special place in my heart and has been one of my favorite games consistently for the past 10 years. It is one of the sole reasons why I still carry around this hunk of junk and actually go through the struggle of making it work. Now you might be wondering, if I love this game so much and hold it in such high regard, why not make a franchise video like the Tony Hawk one? Well, there lies the problem. This is the only skate game I have ever played, and most games on this list will follow this same pattern. I do remember playing Skate once and not liking it for the singular reason that it wasn't Tony Hawk. And well, if I could go back and talk some sense to myself, I would. Eventually, I downloaded the demo for Skate 3, and it was challenging at first because I had only played Tony Hawk games. And for those who don't know, these two franchises play very differently. The quickest way I can summarize this is that in Tony Hawk games, all the actions are binded to the buttons. So to jump, you just have to hit the jump button. But then the Skate franchise created this new system called the Flick It system, where one joystick was your character and the other was your board. So to jump in Skate, you would have to flick the right joystick up to mimic in a way the movement of jumping with a board. They're almost opposites. Where Tony Hawk focuses on crazy unrealistic tricks, Skate focuses more on the landing aspect of the tricks. In here, making a trick that looked awesome felt awesome. It was rewarding to do so because you are attached to somewhat more realistic physics. Not to say Skate doesn't have its crazy, not so real things as well. God knows Skate 3 has a shit ton of bugs, but that's part of the charm of this game for a reason. It is a game at the end of it all. There is something so relaxing of you just cruising around, finding spots, and just trying to make the craziest trick you can think of. It is endless fun, and EA should really stop letting this game rot. At least we're finally getting a Skate 4, but man, this game deserves way more love. Now for the music. This game has a cool mechanic where the track intensifies when you land a high scoring trick. This is the default option. I later found out that this game also has a soundtrack. You just have to activate it. I found out almost 2 years later. It had some good songs here and there. Nothing amazing per se, but it has two tracks that are very important to me, and those are Going Up the Country and Disorder. Especially that last one. It is one of my favorite songs to this day, and I'm glad I found it thanks to this game. Burnout Paradise, much like Skate 3, it's an EA game made by Criterion Software, where you just mess around in a huge map, do tasks and missions, and do sick tricks, or in this case, stunts, where you can fail miserably and crash instead of bailing, all accompanied with a pretty good soundtrack. The only difference here is that EA has actually ported this game, and I don't have to dust off my horrible PS3 to play it. Burnout for me is a special franchise because it just takes the whole racing car genre, but adds one little thing that makes it superior to all of these other car games, and that is wrecks. And well, because these games are actually fun. I find that this makes these games way more fun and personal, and I have always find it ironic that these car simulator games that try to be so real and pristine, and as soon as you crash at 100 miles per hour, they do this, book. Burnout throws all that out of the window and focuses entirely on the crashes. It was a winning formula that, like many other games under the EA umbrella, it's been wasted and rotting considering we haven't had a new Burnout game since 2008. Honestly, this game's just great, and it's still fun to this day. EA, stop killing your best games. This game doesn't really need any introductions due to how infamously famous it is. Even people that don't play video games know about these games. But if for any reasons you don't know this game, in a nutshell, depending on the title, you're either usually a low-end criminal or a high-end criminal with the focus centered in your protagonist going up the criminal underworld. These games have immense freedom where you can practically do everything you want, from stealing cars and or be very violent. This is inherently why this franchise was severely banned in my family, and here is where our story begins. When I was a kid, my dad gave me his old PlayStation 1 with a box full of games, and he went, you can play all of these games, except this one right here. Again, you can never play this one game. So of course, I automatically wanted and only wanted to play that one game. That led me to eventually figuring out how to download GTA 1 in my computer. Now let me just say this, I got extremely bored with GTA 1. I just did not find it fun. This is a game that looked like this when I had games that looked like this. My kid brain was way more attracted to this. So probably, if my dad hadn't made such a big point of not letting me play this one specific game, I would have never been so interested in this franchise. At least not so early. So I kept searching and eventually found GTA 2. And here I understood why I couldn't play this. But man,
And remember, respect is everything.
I loved GTA 2. I played it for many hours, alone, with my brother, with some friends. We even made LAN parties with this game. We just robbed cars, run each other with them, explode them with bazookas. It was great. I had these funny lines.
Wasted.
I just loved this game. And the fact that I couldn't actually own this game made them funner? I don't know, it was forbidden fruit. I eventually got GTA 3 through the computer as well, and I also used to go to a barber shop just to play Vice City. Though I never got to play San Andreas, sadly, the damage was already done. The damage that I think could have been avoided, because not being able to play them made me try to play them all. So let's fast forward to GTA 5. My first owned GTA game. And yeah, the game was fun. Passed it and fiddled with the online for a bit, but it's probably the GTA I have played the least. It wasn't exciting anymore. It fizzled out like any other video game. So I guess the point of this story is, maybe don't ban a game, I don't know, hide it or something. And we're back to franchises EA keeps killing. SSX is a snowboarding game from an old series that goes back to the 2000s. Sadly, the only game I have played from this franchise was the latest back in 2012. And man, what a ride this game is. It is extremely challenging, fun, and satisfying like most games in this list. It shares an extreme detail to music and a very fun soundtrack to back it up. The soundtrack here is a mixture of indie/electronic, and it really suits this game because of how high speed and insane it can get. My favorite thing of SSX is when you land a pretty high combo and the remix of Rum DMC Tricky interrupts whatever song was playing while exploding with effects and stuff. It's insane. My only complaint is the lack of local multiplayer, but I guess that's a common theme among these games. I don't really have much to say about this title other than how crazy and fun it can be, and would definitely like to see more of these games, but of course it's EA we're talking about, so who knows. So now let's go to GTA's funnier cousin, Saint Rose. This franchise, at least these titles, are basically just GTA, but if GTA was more focused on being a silly, non-realistic game than a real-life simulator. Yeah. Gripping gameplay here, fellas. This franchise shares the same fate as most games here in this list, being that I have only played these two, and unfortunately this one as well. Now this soundtrack has amazing songs, and something that I really like from this game is that it integrates a lot of these songs into gameplay in some fantastic scenes, and a great example of this is this scene where the characters just take control of the car radio.
See if you can find something good.
It's gonna be the most
My jam. Oh shit.
Turn it up.
You remember this? Come on.
Dude, this was my high school, right?
Early in the morning, rising to the street. Light me up that cigarette and I strap shoes on my feet.
This is probably one of the best parts of this game, at least one of the most memorable ones. Now let's jump to Saint Rose 4. It's a twofer. This game takes a very different direction. It's no longer GTA's funny cousin. Now it's more of a prototype funny cousin, which was a very weird choice because the prototype games aren't all that famous to be spoofing. And the story was a spoof of The Matrix, which was also kind of odd considering this game came out in 2013. I mean, I didn't mind. I like the prototype games and I love The Matrix, but I do think that whatever made Saint Rose the Third charming was super lost in this one. It is still an enjoyable game overall, but the decision to add superpowers made everything else in the game kind of pointless. Why would I drive my cars when I can just run up walls and fly? Why would I use my guns when I can just use my super strength and powers? Why build up my gang when I can probably defeat all the enemies myself now? It is a weird combination for sure. You have more options, yeah, but the game just doesn't feel cohesive anymore. But where I think this game surpasses the third one has to be in the soundtrack. This game has so many good tracks and so many good moments with these songs. Just the overall feeling while you're playing, I loved running around with Fiddler's No Waves playing in the background. And there's so many songs that do that here. It is such an okay game, but I will always owe a lot to this game for introducing me to Fiddler, so it will always be in my mind for that. Especially No Waves always reminds me of the wacky Saint Rose 4. With that, I finished the assortment of games. Thanks for sticking out to the very end of the video. I want to again thank my friend Louisa for the art as always. These videos wouldn't be the same without them, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Okay, bye.